Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's topic is a introductory video of how to write a statement of purpose. So, before going into the actual meaning of statement of purpose, so let me just tell you what is a statement of purpose. So, as the name suggests, statement of purpose is a one page or sometimes two or three page long statement that you are going to submit to your university or your PhD professor, uh, which actually tells them why do you want to pursue that particular course there and what are your motivations. So, uh, your statement of purpose should have a basic structure. So, this is for generally all the students. Okay. So, you should introduce yourself first. Then you should write the choice of your field. Then you should write the motivation of choosing that field. Then you should write your future interests. And then this is the end. But for those students who have done a master's thesis or they have a master's topic, I know in many universities in India, they don't even have a master's thesis thing in their semester. So many of the students don't have a master's thesis. Okay, but if you have a master's thesis, then you should go to write this advanced tasks as well, like literature review of a potential research topic. I will come to every point. Oh, sorry. I come to every point one by one, but uh, just bear with me for a few seconds. Then I will just come to every point one by one. So for the advanced things, you should do. You should have a potential review of a research topic, then finding a research gap between the proposed and the proposing, already proposed and future proposing of the potential PhD topic, and then extremely specific about process work and your personal research work, if any. Okay, so first of all, introducing yourself. So, what does it mean to introduce yourself? You should have you should write 1 to 2 lines of about yourself, like what do you do, what is your name, and what do you leave that they are unnecessary. Don't write them. Just what is your name? What did you do your masters? And uh, where are you applying or something like that. So the first thing is to the point, no unnecessary things. Second thing is, for example, like I have written this thing. You might take this thing as a template. So what is the situation? I am studying in my MSc in my final semester. I will be applying to some institute in foreign. So this is how we will start. I will start. I am Shubham studying at this and applying for this position in the department of this at this university or institute. Okay. So this might be a good starting point to your SOP. Then don't use any unnecessary personal information like where did you do your 12th or which board you were in, your marks in 12th, they do not matter. Just BSc and MSc, mostly MSc, but don't write any BSc things as well. But you can write, but it's not recommended as well. Okay. So just write your MSc things. Where did you do your MSc? And if you have any contacts or anything, please also mention them. Okay. Then you should write the choice of your field, that what you are going to choose to do a PhD in. I'm assuming that everyone is applying for a PhD, but these things also apply if you want to do any course. The PhD thing will be replaced by some other course. Like if you want to do MSc in some university in Britain, then you should write these things for a MSc perspective. So the choice of a field, you should know and understand this very well. Don't pretend. Okay. So don't pretend something that you don't know. Don't pretend that you know everything and you do some Google search and just copy paste from Google. Don't do this kind of stuff because that will actually not help you, because they run this SOPs through some plagiarism detector software, and they will easily find in a matter of seconds that you have copied from this website. So they will not definitely not take you in if you copy from some source. Okay, so don't pretend anything that you don't know. Just write something, even if it's a one liner or two liner. Just write by all by yourself. Okay, and choose a specific area of interest. Now there are two kinds of people. One who has done their MSc in a normal college where there is no master's thesis, so they don't get any exposure to research, and they don't have a PhD in their university, so there is no exposure to PhD as well. And there are second kind of students, those who are studying in a very premier or good institute in India, and they have access to the research labs. They have seen the research lab. They have gone to the research lab. They have done some sort of more or less some sort of research. Ideally, you should do some sort of research in your final semester in MSc, but this is not the case for India, right? So if you are a student who is just, average, or I mean, if you are an average student and now you are trying to do a PhD, you should have a specific subject of interest. Okay, so you don't have a specific topic which is the cutting edge topic where everyone is working. You are writing that as a topic just to pretend that you know something, but that is actually you don't know about it. You know nothing about that. So it is better not to pretend, but just to write a specific thing, a specific subject basically, like solid state physics, condensed matter physics, EMT, anything like that. And those who have a specific interest, those who have actually done their master's project, they can write a page or two-page only on that choice of the field. So it is a no-brainer for them. Okay. Now, you can have a vast interest, but not necessarily you will have a specific interest. Okay. Like you can have an interest in condensed matter physics. But what I recommend is you should have a specific part of condensed matter. Like condensed matter physics in itself is a very, very vast topic. Okay. So many things actually are actually done right now on condensed matter physics, but you should actually prepare for a very less amount of topic, because you should keep in mind that if this is a very good university, like any foreign good university in foreign, they will ask you interview questions on the basis of your SOP. Okay, so whatever you write in SOP, you should have a proper grasp on that topic and also interest, because you might, this might be your final SOP, and you will be taken as a student on basis of that SOP only. Now, the examples that I told you, that SOP and EMT, SSP and EMT, these are some topics that you might consider as a broad field. Okay, so you should write my broad field of interest is this, but specifically I am interested in superconductivity. So broad interest is superconductivity is a specific interest. Okay, so those who have their research thesis, they can easily write. I don't have to tell them. So now the next thing is motivation for choosing that field. Now you have proposed something. Now you have to back it up with some points that why you have proposed this thing. So these things can be very vague for everyone. So some have their interest, some have uh, initialized their first interest from grades of a subject, from some teachers, from some research papers, from some books, some chapters, some videos, some movies even. Okay, so your interest might grow from a very very abstract. I mean, unpopular thing as well. Like uh, those who are interested in astronomy or gravitational physics, it might happen that the movie Interstellar inspired them to learn or read about astrophysics. So you should write this thing, but not, too much into the culture, but too much into the science would be better. Okay. So like books or papers, those will be better. But you might write this movies or such things like that once in a while. Okay. So you can state some good grades or specific chapters, specific things about some author of a book or specific authors, or if you have done a project or thesis, then it's very easy for you because you have done a 2 3 months long literature survey before going into that project. So that motivation of the literature survey is there with you. Okay, you know the problem which is written in the literature, so you can write anything. So this those students who have a project and thesis, that writing a SOP is very easy job for them. But those who don't have, my video is specifically towards them because they don't have any idea about what to write in your SOP. Okay. So now the future interest. So after the motivation, you have already come to the last of your page. Okay. So now your future interest, that why you want to do the PhD in this institute. Suppose you are applying to Harvard, let's say. So the general question that they would ask is why you want to do this in Harvard? Okay. Why not any other institute, any other university? Why not Caltech, or why not Oxford, or why not even in India? Okay, so you should write the things about those that university. This facilities that is there in Harvard, or this professor. this professor and this professor who are there in our Harvard, they will help me a lot, or their research interest is actually um, in line with mine. You can also mail the professors as well to check if they're interested in taking students right now or not. So in this way, your future interest should have a 2 3 lines of um, uh, 2 3 lines of sentences, and then you should conclude your uh, SOP. But for those who are like a really advanced student, they have done a master's project or already have a paper, they can actually do a literature review of the potential future research topic that he is actually thinking that he will be working on. So for this, you can consider talking to the professor that you are targeting to, get to. So then you should find a research gap in the pre-existing done the research which is done till now, and the proposed research that you are proposing that you will be doing in your PhD. Then you should be extremely specific about any professor. If you want mention any professor, then you should be extremely specific about his or her work and his or her field of interest. Then you should write about your personal research work if there is any. So you should write why did you wrote those papers and what was the motivation between those two papers, how it is linked to your future application of PhD. Okay, so how it is linked to your future. If that does not link, then don't mention. Okay, if your paper was in some other direction, then don't mention those papers. You should mention also your master's and MSc thesis. So for some people, it happens that they do a master's project and MSc thesis project in some different direction, and the application of a SOP is a different direction. So for that case, don't mention your SOP. Don't mention them in your SOP, because actually that will demerit your evaluation of your CV, because that will pose the fact that you are a person who had an interest in certain field but now had lost interest. So you can do this same in your PhD. After 2 years, you might say that I'm not interested in physics at all. So that will be a very bad point for your CV. So don't mention those. So if you have that was all from my side. Then if you thanks everyone for watching the video till here. If you have any doubts, you can comment down below and I will answer them specifically. Also subscribe to my channel. I post this kind of videos every twice or once in a week, and also I post regularly the shorts where you can find the different information about different PhDs in or different job opportunities in India. Uh, Subscribe to physics. Thanks for watching. We'll meet in the next video.